I quietly prayed to the portrait in front of me. Then I disappeared right in front of everyone. When I reappeared, I had brought back the legendary healer from the portrait. Everyone was shocked to see the rarely seen healer. My mother didn't have time to ask questions. She immediately knelt and begged him to cure my brother's dwarfism with the healer's skillful acupuncture. My brother's small body that had been mocked since childhood miraculously returned to normal. The reason I had such special powers was because I was the reincarnation of a celestial maiden. One day, my father was ambushed by assassins. I sensed it and teleported to the scene with a wave of my hand. Countless flying swords froze in midair. The assassins were so terrified they dropped to their knees and begged for mercy. But this incident brought trouble upon me. My grandmother heard and believed I was a demon. She even ordered me to be locked up and planned to burn me alive. Luckily, I escaped using my powers but ended up homeless and became a beggar. Coincidentally, my mother fell ill while praying at a temple. She had run out of medicine, so I shook an empty bottle gently, and it magically filled with medicine again. After she recovered, she immediately accepted me as her daughter, but my brother's maid grew jealous. She accused me of stealing mother's love. My brother already felt inferior because of his illness. With her instigating, his hatred for me deepened. At that time, I was following my mother to help treat him. But as soon as I entered the room, I was nearly hit by something he threw. My mother was furious and scolded him. The maid still wouldn't back down. She mocked me to my face, saying I was just a country girl with no manners. But my mother defended me on the spot and reprimanded the maid. The maid still didn't give up. She claimed my adoption had delayed the search for a healer. Not knowing that the healer lived in a deadly mountain area, my mother had already sent countless experts, but none returned alive. So I said, I could bring the healer myself. The maid sneered and said I didn't even know the way. How could I possibly find the healer? I ignored her completely and cast a spell on the portrait, then brought the healer over. My mother saw him and immediately begged him to help my brother. The healer sighed and said the condition was curable, but he only had a 10% chance of success. I instantly said I could make it 100%. Then I gently blew on the silver needle. The healer thought I was just a child being silly, but still promised to do his best. As soon as he inserted the first needle, he realized my breath was extraordinary. A treatment that usually took over 100 needles took effect instantly. My brother's body began to grow rapidly. His clothes tore apart, and he grew bigger and taller. My mother cried tears of joy and thanked the healer again and again. But the healer shook his head and said, I deserve the thanks. My brother was deeply moved. He held my hand and vowed to grant my every wish, but I just smiled and said, my only wish was for him to like me. From that moment on, he finally accepted me and treated me like a treasure. My father was even happier when he heard. He hugged me tightly and kissed me over and over, then personally cooked an entire meal just for me. But just then, an envoy from an enemy nation suddenly came to provoke us. They said, if someone in our country could solve the 9 linked rings, they would continue to pay 3 million taels of silver yearly, and even give us 3 cities. But if we failed, we'd have to give up land and pay compensation. My father asked around, but